Greetings, everybody. We've gathered around the table again today for another episode. But first of all, we're going to rip on Paul for not being here because he's sick.
This guy over here should be Joe, but now I have to look at Joe. It's terrible. Well, it's better than looking at Paul. So,
Gee, I'm honored. Sorry, Paul.
Sorry for nothing. Get your ass healthy so you can get back here. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul.
To start off with the pocket dumps, I may as well jump in. I was being on this nice and simple and carrying my little root slip joint today.
I haven't seen that guy in your pocket for a little while.
Yeah. It's just nice little functional, good Sunday carry.
Light duty.
Yep.
Still liking the 12C.
Oh yeah, it's a nice little steel.
I went opposite end of the spectrum. I'm carrying my Spyderco Tough today. I rarely carry it, but...
What are you talking about? That's definitely a delicate light use knife.
Oh, yeah.
Just disappears in the pocket.
So, yeah, 1/4-inch thick 3V pocket knife. Yeah.
It's a bit of a beast.
It totally just disappears. It's as slim as an Osborne. It's awesome, though. I love it.
It's a killer knife. This one is new to me. A Stedman design. Little Quakin guy. This was a budget version. I got it courtesy of Infield on Instagram. He let it go for a very nice price, so I've been playing with it ever since.
Neat little one.
D2?
No, 440C.
Interesting.
Yeah. Playing with 440C for the first time in years, and I don't hate it. It's definitely a step down from the M390 that I've been playing with up until now, but I don't hate the see-through G10 scales. I kind of like them. It's a weird one, but yeah.
I'm going to right dye those gray for you, just so they...
Devastated.
That would be good.
Worst prank ever.
No, it's good. Just accept it.
If it's this gray, I'll be okay.
We'll find out when it's done.
I don't want a dark gray.
We'll see what happens.
Can't get picky on your grays.
Yes, I can. Watch.
He's an art school geek. Of course he can.
No, it's gray. It's all the right answer when it's gray.
I guess I don't have a choice in the matter.
No, you never did.
God damn. Oh well.
So today we are going to be taking a look at a new for 2018 offering from Spyderco.
Brand new, 2018.
It has gotten lots of reviews and hypes and had good things said about it all over the place. The Spyderco Caribbean. Yay! It's a fun one with the very noticeably bumblebee sort of patterning to the G10 handles there.
I was just going to say, let's get this out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bumblebee.
It sure is. They did layers of the yellow and black G10 and then milled it for the striping there to try and give added texture, but also giving the visual look of the bumblebee.
It's kind of like a weird hypnotic sort of spread from that center line.
Mm-hmm.
It's stepped, and it's odd. It's definitely an odd one.
Indeed. So weighing in at 4.2 ounces, it would take the pair of these to equal about the weight of a hamster.
That's I don't know, that seems like a heftier hamster than normal. Is that like the average weight for a hamster?
I assume so, yeah. I don't know. I didn't look up the weight of the hamster, it's just that these guys were about 3/5 the weight of a hamster, so...
So now you need the scene from The Simpsons where Moe's holding two knives, and it's like, yeah, this feels pretty good, but a hamster, and it's the Caribbeans.
And
It's
only
like,
3/5 of a hamster,
Well,
which fits Mo, but...
you know, that's not what I was talking about. No, you're just talking about gripping hamsters. I'm talking about a hamster gripping Caribbeans.
Trippy. I like it.
Indeed. With an overall length of 8.54 inches, it would take about 10 of these to equal up the height of Shaq.
10.
Yeah.
Can you say?
It is.
That seems like too few. I don't know.
Apparently it is.
So if you had 10 Shaqs, instead of them on top of each other,
How many of these
Would it equal one giant Caribbean?
Is that how it works? Do you just exchange one?
It extrapolates until you've got Godzilla
We're-
as Shaq in one side and King Kong as a giant Caribbean.
I know Microtech made that giant Halo.
Yeah.
I don't know that Spyderco would make a giant Caribbean. It'd be kind of scary.
That would be silly. It better have a nice palm tree on it, or two, so you could get a hammock swinging or something.
I'd be terrified of those blades coming down on me.
You could just close it and turn it into a giant boat because that's what the handle looks like. It's
Yeah.
a giant boat.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Is it a coincidence that Chris Reeve released his Doppler effect Semenza the same year that these knives come out? I'm just saying.
Maybe it was peeking at his brain a little.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, and we got to play with both of them, both the leaf blade and the sheep's foot.
Mm-hmm. So we would just like to take this opportunity to thank the Cutting Edge for helping us create this video, donating these knives for our review so we can check them out and let you guys know what we think of them.
Not one, but two offerings. They gave us both of them, and we're happy that they brought them both in just so, yeah, we could play with them and share what we thought.
Indeed. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so they're pretty cool little knives. Pros and cons on both, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of the main pros of this guy and why it's got such a good claim to fame is the steel in the blade there. It's using a LC200N.
Very good reputation lately with Spyderco. Their newest rust-proof steel, following the steps of H1.
Yep.
Learned something pretty interesting about the LC200N. Forged by, I believe it's Zap, I want to say, which is awesome. There should be some Futurama
Zap
reference. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. But apparently very similar to a steel that's actually known as a cutlery steel, Corridor 30. Chronodor? 30?
Corridor,
Chronodor 30? Yeah.
We'll blur this in.
It's in the 1731 series by Henkel's. And as soon as I was doing some homework on it and saw that, I realized that it was, in that. And they pay a pretty penny for those 1731s. That's the high-end stuff for the Henkel. Yeah. Yep. Set to a 60 Rockwell, which I think Spyderco kind of keeps some of their stuff a secret, even though I think it comes out on the forums. I'm not sure what the LC is set to.
Yeah, I
comparatively
haven't seen that information myself. Have you noticed anything?
No, I haven't heard anybody talking about it yet, but who knows?
Fair enough.
And then the other major pro feature with this, other than the LC200, is rust-proof hardware across the board.
Yeah, using titanium pocket clip, stainless steel hardware as well as liners that we've, as much as we can tell, is LC200N as well.
Very positive about the fact that the liners are LC200N. I want to say the screws are as well. If they're not, I'm guessing they're titanium, one or the other.
Yeah. So pretty much the first thing that's going to start to deteriorate is going to be the G10 is my guess.
Which
if
is
anything.
Which is insane, given G10 is literally resin and glass fiber.
Yeah.
So this is a very... what would you call that? It's a very corrosion-resistant knife.
I'm not sure if I think it was the Center Canada where he did the saltwater tests, and the only kind of orange came up around where the Spyderco etching is.
Which makes sense, given it's a laser burn into the steel, right?
Well, and theorizing that, it could be even some trace left on after the etching that's
maybe
on the dark
of the burnt off oxidized
because
steel.
literally all you could do is wipe it off with your thumb and it was completely gone. It was on the surface. It was not etched into the blade in any way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So if you're looking for a knife that's going to last 100 years into the apocalypse and whatever wastelands that we come into,
I'm finding Atlantis.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. We're gonna dive with these knives. These are terrible dive knives. Don't do it. But foreboding knives.
Yeah, not the worst idea out there for sure. Another big pro for LC200N as opposed to H1, edge retention.
It actually has it.
Yes. None of this stuff about the edge hardening as you use it. None of that. You don't need the spider edge in order for this to be functional. And by the way, those are the only two variations you can get on these knives, is the plain edge and the full spider edge. There's no half measures here.
Yeah. Which, honestly, I kind of don't mind, because if I'm going to have a serrated blade, I'm just going to flat out have a serrated blade. I'm not going to bother with the half serrated. And
You want a rope knife? Here's your rope knife.
exactly,
Yeah.
as far as being the rust proof, the bright, the obvious to see, the good boat knife. Yeah, I'd take it as a fully serrated if I was on a boat and dealing with ropes and that sort of stuff all the time.
And I mean, how many people do you know that use nothing but fully serrated knives, like in the kitchen for everyday tasks? That like knife people cringe but they get the job done, and they seem to love it.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you can get the job done, even if it's a task that you might prefer a plain edge. There's lots of people out there that are like, no, give me those teeth and I'll just saw through anything in my way. And you can do that with the Spyderco spider edges. Is that what they're called? I don't know.
Spidey edge.
Spidey edge. Yeah.
I think that's what they call them. Yeah.
One of the other main pros that it seems to be for this guy is the compression lock. Spyderco is getting a lot of popularity lately with that sort of configuration.
It's a smart design. I'll give them that. It's a clever design.
Keeps your fingers out of the path of the blade as it's closing. Very nice.
But it's a pain in the ass for us lefties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll live with it because, well, I don't know how Nigel's gotten with the one-handed closey thing that I do. It's...
No.
I've got pretty confident with it, and people are like, you have to have freakishly long fingers to be able to do it one-handed, and
It's weird for me.
I found a way, but it's not comfortable.
It reminds me of the same pose you have to do for a Sierra KT auto lock. You gotta kind of talon your way through it.
Yeah.
Having said that, they do have a couple offerings with left-handed compression locks.
Most of the paramilitaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I try not to be biased towards my left-handedness or right-handedness when you look at lock designs. Just look at it for what it's worth, and it's a very intelligent design.
It definitely is, yeah.
Using the stop pin as part of your locking mechanism, pinning the bar in back in behind it.
And along that note, we've noticed that there's a kind of secondary little half pin that's set into one of the scales. And there's actually a track milled out in the blade for it to run in.
To add to the strength, I suppose. That must be the reason.
I'd like to hear in the comments if anyone has any sort of idea, if you understand a little more. We're guessing reinforcement just because it acts as an extra stop pin, both open and closed, as far as an anchor point to the blade itself. But if anyone has a definitive answer, we'd love to know what you guys think, why that's there.
And if it's on any of their models, because I haven't disassembled the PM2, but I kind of want to now just to see. And like we were saying earlier, it'd be nice if Paul was here, because
we could check his out.
We could have found out by now.
But someone was slacking, so...
But, I mean, I've never noticed it on any of my other Spydercos, and as I'm saying that, I kind of maybe can see it on...
Seriously?
I don't know. We'll investigate further. It's dirty in there.
It's dirty, and that is such a tight tolerance, it's hard to see.
Yeah.
We'll
Thanks, Spyderco, for having tight tolerances, so I can't tell.
Solid grip, good ergonomics.
Fantastic. Fits really good in the hand. And, like, medium to extra large, I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
I don't know about small.
If Paul was here, we could find out.
It's just not legal.
Paul's getting ripped on tonight.
The only thing I don't like about the ergonomics is actually the pocket clip for me. I find that it stands out pretty far, and I haven't taken it off and swept it around to the other side as it would be if I was owning and carrying this knife.
You better swip it to the other side.
Yeah, but even my right hand and trying to find comfort in it, I find it to be a little obtrusive.
Okay, because I was going to ask, because when I had it in my left hand, I could feel that as well, but I just kind of wondered if it was just I needed to put it onto the proper side. And by proper side, I mean the right side.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean the left side.
And I was wondering that too, which is why I was playing around with it in my right hand, and it still feels like it could be obtrusive for me. So I'm not sure.
For my size hands, maybe just because the hot spots, whatever. But I don't.
You don't feel hot spots, so I would listen to you.
No, I don't
feel it, but it's not annoying.
I can feel it, but it nestles into the swell of my palm enough that it's...
So like if I press that into place, You guys can see that.
Oh yeah. It
Like-
wraps around
Yeah.
the inside of your knuckle there.
Actually, that's pretty
But
nice.
with the handle
So-
being this wide and this thin as well, there's going to be some dead area.
Yeah.
Because of the flat handle, there's going to be some gap in between
Yep.
because your hand is squeezing in a
Which-
round
yeah.
shape, right?
Which I think kind of works in this instance, at
I-
least in terms of avoiding that pocket.
I think so as well, personally. Yeah.
Yeah, like if I was to really tell for sure, I'd have to get it flipped around and play with it for a while.
Did notice as well, they snubbed the tip downers because they're downers.
Just a two-way carry there.
Only tip up.
Yeah, and you're not getting a deep carry pocket clip, which, I mean, you would if it was a wire clip, but here they are with titanium clips. I guess because they thought you needed higher strength if you're working around water. I mean, this is high visibility, but there is a chance that if it goes under, you may not be able to find it again.
Yeah.
So I think instead of going with a wire clip, the spoon clip was a better choice.
Yep, for sure. Nice thing about where they did position the pocket clip there in correspondence with the grooving is it lines up really, really nicely for where the tension is on the pocket clip.
So you're not shredding the crap out of your pockets every time you try to get to this knife.
So grab a piece of paper. Yeah. So I mean, super easy demo. Basically, what we're saying is the tension right where the pocket clip is tense is smooth for where the G10 is. So it slides really, really nicely through because of that black stripe that apparently is the eyeball in the middle of this very, very messed up Cheshire cat's eye handle that we've got going on.
Yep.
Radiating,
Yeah.
just madness. All right.
Well, if you put them side by side, totally Cheshire cat eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
turn off all the lights, and it's just the black eyes going
Looks
along
like
the
they're just
center.
throbbing. That's kind of
Yeah.
creepy now. All right. Well, that's
This isn't Disney's Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, this is more like Alice Madness kind of
This
crap.
is the
Yeah.
old Alice in Wonderland. People were on opium. People got hurt.
This is going to be a documentary on HBO. It's not going to be a...
But yes, we like that they did that. That's an extra attention thing that a lot of companies neglect. Is
common thread for Spyderco, though. They've, on their Delicas and Enduras, they made sure that the label was in just the right place.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that they paid attention to, but it is a really good thing.
and another reason why the wire clip is one of my favorites out there. As well, minimal pocket damage when you're sliding it in and off the pocket. I know these don't have the wire clips, but I thought I'd mention it because that's prop to Spyderco. So
Yep.
Absolutely.
So shall we get on to our cons then?
we got some cons.
Yeah.
We love
There's
this
a handful.
knife, but we don't love this knife at the same time.
Indeed.
There's just a few things that kind of tick us off.
I don't know what tick us off.
A little bit,
There's
to be
things that
honest.
make me angry, and there's nothing that makes me angry about this knife.
Well,
It's just
just
we
the-
could have done some things some different.
Just the tick. Just the tick.
The only thing that I'll agree that does tick me off is just being the left-handed pickiness of the compression lock. But the lock itself
that's
is
more
good.
of a Spyderco complaint than a...
The lock itself is good. I'm just being a picky left-handed.
Yeah.
I do, yeah, fair enough. I've tried closing this thing left-handed. It's not a fun thing to do, even with Dennis's weird method.
Yeah.
It's still odd.
It's a two-stage. It's like closing a lockback one-handed almost, as far as the awkwardness of it.
That's supposed
And
to
I'm not talking about the cold steel drop where everyone's cutting themselves, because everyone cuts themselves.
I haven't yet. I'm waiting for the day where I have to go for stitches, but
It'll happen.
next week I'll come in.
Yeah.
So yeah, the cons then.
The cons.
What's the biggest con, you think, out of all this?
For me, it's the texture.
I would say this is number one for me.
Yep.
Okay, so
As grippy as it is forwards.
It is very, very slick.
we are all very much in agreement that when you put this knife in your hands, it feels fantastic. It feels really comfortable in the hand. It feels perfect. I don't know if I would personally slip with it or not, just because of where the pinky and the index finger is grabbing
Yeah.
with it itself. But they smoothed all the black stripes on the G10 here.
Yeah, and for me, it's not so much the concern of slipping back and forth, but if I'm getting going and really working on something, it's
The back
very
and
slipping
forth.
up and down. And just a quick touch, and we'll get back onto this, but a quick touch about the jimping. It's not as aggressive or as long as it could be. So
Yeah.
the combination of that and that, I feel like it has potential to slip up.
I agree. And we were chatting about that before recording, is also something the negative as we were all kind of handing these around and getting each other's feedback is the jimping seems somewhat mild and the ramp. And I hate to say it because there's a lot of guys out there that don't like the ramp on Spyderco, but it's the combination of the mild jimping plus the lack of more of a ramp.
Yeah, like they only did the jimping like 2/3 of the way up of what little ramp there was.
Now, I will throw this out there. This isn't intended to be a wood carving knife.
No, it isn't.
This is a rope knife, and with the grip, again, with the index and the pinky finger in mind. What are you doing over here, balancing knives?
Showing off the
thickness?
no,
Or the
the
jimping?
jimping.
Okay. That's it. I don't know. Words.
Stuff. Things.
But yes, yeah, not intended as a wood carving knife.
No,
It's intended as a sailing knife, a rope, and again, with that grip you have, in that heat of the moment, slice one time, know you've got a secure grip. I'm confident that they have a good design here for that practical purpose. If you're trying to cross merchandise these purposes, you might not be the best knife for that particular situation.
And the other kind of point of why I don't like the grippiness is I tend to get a little clammy in the hand. So as soon as you get that smooth, full texture, it gives a lot more surface area, skin contact, and I find it gets even clammier, and that gives an extra sense of the slippiness to it.
I have found with some G10, even if you do get it very smooth, it'll still be slightly grippy, kind of like my Carta, but only when it's all this texture. When you just have a little bit, it's just enough for you to start slipping. And I don't know why that is, and it's kind of weird, but I've noticed that with a few different knives.
And on the texture note, that's the biggest con for me on this G10 is the shiny aspect of it, but the texture of it also makes it feel like plastic for me.
It feels cheaper than it is.
And again, we were dabbling on when you pick a knife up. Your Rook is a good example. My G10 is actually a little bit smooth on the tough right now.
Oh, crap, even this.
But well, yours is a little smooth too. But yeah, I mean, even still, you know that you're getting G10. I refer to it like a Manix. And I was hoping that the black still had that feel of maybe a Manix texture. Or a Manix feel to it as far as the rigidity, but it has a plastic hollowy Griptilian feel.
Which it really shouldn't.
Yeah.
I own 3 Griptilians for the record. Just for the record, I own 3 of them.
But you know what you're getting into when you buy a Griptilian.
None of them are plastic handled. Anyway.
This is twice the price of a Griptilian. So
LC. And I'll give it on that. The exotic LC200N. And I don't know if we dabbled on the Pro aspect, but I might jump back to the Pro for half a minute just with that and price point.
Yeah.
Jesus, with the materials you're getting titanium hardware, you're getting LC200N liners, you're getting LC200N blade, you're getting 2-layer G10 that's been machined for $220 Canadian. I don't know what it is American. $220 Canadian, $230 Canadian, depending on the model that you're getting, because apparently them grinding the back of a knife costs more, but than the front of a knife.
Don't ask any questions about that.
Anyway.
It is what it is.
At the same time, it's phenomenal price point for what you're getting.
That it is.
Kind of weird to say bang for your buck for a $230 knife, but I mean, damn, for something that's completely rust-proof and has that steel for the blade, yeah, okay.
Look at H1 prices.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a little ridiculous.
H1 is a third or a quarter of the steel of what LC200N is, and you're still paying maybe $50 less a model for probably the equivalent models with an H1 steel compared to an LC. And then you look at the other models in Spyderco's catalog that already have LC and price those out. Spidey Chefs, Tusks. Some of the fixed blades, I think, have LC as well.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say for the folders, at least those have a lot of titanium, but
you got a little bit of titanium
there's a little
hardware.
bit here. Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Just as opposed to thick scales. So, jumping back quickly to pros, good price point for what it is.
Yeah. Sorry, not to get away from the cons too much,
sure.
but I think I will say that is if you want
It's
to
worth
steel nerd it out and test new exotic steels, awesome offering for LC.
Especially the leaf-shaped blade. I like the leaf-shaped blade.
I'm opposite, but we'll get into that later.
For sure. What was the... Oh, yeah, lanyard hole placement.
Cons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Back to that. That was something that he had brought up, and it kind of makes me mad now that I see it, because now I can't unsee it.
It's what I do. I notice crappy things about good knives, and then no one can unsee them, including myself, and I ruin it all the time for myself. But anyway.
So, you guys watching in YouTube land can see where the tip is, you can see where the lanyard hole is. That's right in the middle of the knife, and you know that if that follows that same curve, there's a ton of handle here with no blade in it.
If we had X-ray vision right now, there would be this giant red stripe of nothingness right here that is very wasted space when the knife is closed because of...
I would have liked to have seen a wider blade given the opportunity. I mean, it's more material, might cost a bit more, but...
For me, it's not so much the wider blade. I think that would look kind of awkward and weird. It's so... Like, for me, the benefits of moving the lanyard hole would be thinness in pocket.
You bet.
Fair
Yeah,
enough. That's it. I've never been bothered by a wide knife in my pocket, so...
I mean, my favorite knife of all time is the 940 Osborne. And
yeah, like
you look at any Spyderco compared to a 940 Osborne. And I mean, I love the Sleech Bowie, but something I love about the Sleech Bowie is how clean it is against the spine of the knife. And I don't think that this titanium lanyard tube is a good enough reason not to do the same thing as what you would do on a Sleech Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah,
and I mean, maybe recessing the hole, you guys were talking about how you would fit that, but...
It is a full-sized opening hole. I don't know that it would be difficult to open just by the very edge of it.
Mm-hmm. And kind of what we were getting at there is if you did make that adjustment and move the lanyard hole to have the blade sink in deeper, it would obstruct the access to the finger hole from the scales there. So we were kind of debating about how to get around that,
And
whether doing like a little cutout.
Personally, I think that... I don't know. I like the ergos the way they are.
I do as well, and that's my struggle with it is in the hand when it's open compared to in the pocket when it's closed.
Yeah.
And that's a big struggle, man. Like
This is very slightly, like by a matter of millimeters, slightly thinner.
Well, it's
in the
recessed
pocket.
into the handle more. It's just blade shape.
Well, that's
right?
what I mean.
Like,
I mean, the spine comes down more, but that's kind of what we're getting at. This would look more like this. This would probably be even more.
But if we get in the zoom in on this, and I don't know if we can, if we can get a
Too close.
with the weight background there,
Yeah. A little difficult to see.
how much that blade is. There we go. That was a good shot. Yeah. Compared to the stop in, like it's far enough away that I'm not like concerned about it touching the stop pin or anything. But then you got half a handle behind it where they're like, we're just going to put screws.
Yeah.
3 millimeters deeper into the handle than they normally are because we got all this space to work with.
The one benefit to them being set the way they are now is that there's no chance of you cutting yourself on that compression lock. The blade's not going to come back through. Like on some models, it does come pretty close. Well, I mean, contrast it's not called the Shazam. It's called the Shaman. The Shaman where the finger choil actually comes out slightly into the compression tab area when the knife is closed. I don't know that I would like this as much with a finger choil. I think it's awesome that it's a dedicated grip, you know? You're not forced to cut.
I don't think the finger choil is the answer on this knife, too. And again, I think it's application. I think for this, you're using it as a sailing knife.
But this is what I mean, but kind of like a catch-22. Like, it would be better if the blade was more deeply seated, but then would we have to deal with the edge coming closer to the compression? Like,
What's the compromise of making that shift? Yeah.
Without messing around with like drawings of this on a computer, I really don't know that I would, really understand what the pros and cons would be of switching it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is something to take note of.
Yeah.
I think it's a good knife to have a lanyard on. I mean, I don't think getting rid of the lanyard tube altogether is the answer. Just move it. Move it right here, and it'd be way better. You're working around water. It's probably a good idea to have one.
Yep.
Just briefly back to a pro, because I'm not sure if we mentioned it, but the way that the liners are set within the handles, the fact that it's completely smooth and flush.
Nested is what they called
Yes,
it.
thank you. That's the word.
Directly in there, where normally the skeletonization, and even on your Rook knife that you have, there's a slab of G10, and then there's holes where the steel liners are. And I think even in my Tough,
Good old lint
Yeah,
traps.
you bet. Yeah, lid traps. Also saltwater traps, also any sort of
Yep.
moisture traps. And they totally nested the G10 with round circle cutouts into where that skeletonization is. So even though you get the lightweight factor of the skeletonization, you don't get the places to be able to make that better.
Empty trap spots.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a really nice touch, and I'm sure it was worth a couple extra dollars programming that into their CNC. But I mean, well worth it. Very nicely designed. Also reduces the overall thickness, I think, because now you don't need to worry about adding the liners underneath. It's not like a tenacious where it's a full steel liner.
Yeah.
Quick before we round out here, but a quick topic for debate. You were talking about leaf blade. Nigel and I were talking about sheep's foot. Why and why?
I don't work around water a lot. I think I would use the knife for more than just marine-related tasks. So for like an everyday user like me, I might prefer the leaf-shaped blade. I don't hate sheep's foot, but I think I would go this way just to have a little bit of a more pointy tip.
I just like the leaf's foot. Or
Leaf's foot? It's
Yes.
all about the sheep's leafs.
What would that look like?
So yeah, I'm more about the sheep's foot sort of style. It's just I tend to like it better.
Fits you better.
Yeah, it seems to fit me better if I was using it along the intended use as it is with like the boating marine sort of knife. That makes more sense as far as potential dropping, anything like that on rough seas, stuff like that. Less stabbing risk.
Yeah, like if you're on
Rafts.
It's just about to say inflatable rafts. Anything where you don't want to accidentally poke, that's gonna maybe save you some heartache.
Oh, even on hard surfaces like the floor of your boat, like if it's any sort of metal, anything like that, rocks on the shore, things like that, which is going to take more damage.
Yeah.
The nice fine pointy tip or the one that's already been broken off.
Exactly
Like
why.
yeah.
Not even considering hard like rocks or a metal boat or something like that, even a wooden boat, if it sticks in and it's still rocking and stuff like that, you're going to snap the tip probably.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's why I say for me, who's not doing a lot of marine stuff, yeah. But in that environment, this is definitely the better choice in terms of longevity, right?
And I'll make my one last note on why I also prefer the sheep's foot is because this looks like every Spyderco ever made.
That too.
Ever. It's a Tenacious, it's a Mannix, it's a Sage, it's all of those things.
Okay, fair enough. So for the different look, you want the
Yeah.
variety.
Does it look like every
That's
Spyderco
true.
under the sun?
Yeah.
That's a big draw for me too, yeah.
This doesn't look like every Spyderco ever
Only
made.
because of the blood groove.
If you're kidding, so anyway, that's an episode on its own. But I like the knives that are just like you didn't cut and paste.
Yeah.
And I find that if they just had released this, it would have stood out a lot more because it's not a cut and paste. The varieties made the Spyderco fans happy, but yeah, I like it that it stands out. So
I think that about does it for our pros and cons.
I think-
What do you rate this overall?
my final grading system, I'm gonna give these knives a B minus. And it's higher than I thought I was going to rank it, to tell you the truth. When I first got them in my hand, the plasticky feel of how shiny the G10 is and just the vibe to it, I was really kind of disappointed. I wanted some Mannix or some, maybe not cold steel grip-like texture, but
I don't know.
I wanted something in there that I didn't get. But reeling it back, especially when you're looking at materials versus price point, that's where the highest ranking, and then the ergonomics in hand is where I also give it its major ranking for why I give it that B minus. Yeah, you improve some G10 things, you improve the way it sits in the body because of the stupid lanyard tool, and this is going to be an A+ knife.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, and I find I'm in the same sort of B minus, C plus ish sort of range. Really decent ergonomics. I'd have to play around with it more to see what I really felt of it. Same line as Dennis with the slippy aspect of the texture. That's definitely negative points for sure. The steel for the price point is an awesome addition, like for the point scale. But as far as us go, we live in Calgary. We're nowhere near the ocean. It's a very, very dry environment, so that steel's kind of wasted on us, I feel, so it's not that much of a draw to me.
Fair for you personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have to agree with you guys. Like a B- sounds about right overall for this knife. I do like the idea of having some variety. Fixing up that lanyard hole issue would be nice. And you know what? It might look kind of stupid, but a simple fix for this would be clearing out material going in the opposite direction. You know, giving it like a checker. If they just did that
For the slippy aspect.
for the slippy aspect.
I would nix that right now because one of the things they talked about for me personally is the high visibility on these knives. If you were to drop them in the water, in the sand, in the rocks, these knives, not only yellow and black, but the striping pattern is not what you see in nature.
Yeah.
This is a very intentional striping pattern that's going to stand out from a mile away. If you start putting checkering on this, you're going to lose that high vis.
At a distance, it's
enough.
going to look a lot more fuzzy and it will blend in a
That
lot
it
more.
will, yeah. So I like where your
Okay,
logic is
yeah.
for grip, but this was supposed to be a high vis. I could drop it in the sand in the ocean and
So,
be able to
yeah.
see it and maybe jump in and grab my knife back type of idea.
So that's not
Makes
really
sense.
a compromise you can make.
I have a hard
Yeah.
time with that one. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Unless you went like deeper levels with the machining to help keep the visibility.
That's what I was thinking. Either because they do have different layers, but what about the Digicam sort of technology that they've been using with their the paramilitaries? What if they did that to give the pattern, but then had a solid texture?
What do you mean the pattern?
Well,
As far as like how they're dyeing the G10 to get the Digicam pattern, because they're not machining that in.
what if they just dyed in that pattern? Is what I'm saying. Into
Instead
regular
of
G10.
machining the pattern.
Oh,
You would lose out that harsh back forwards texture.
all right, right, guys.
Oh, good luck making these scales, by the way, with those inset lines.
I want to see it on Manix's because they've got the G10 I'm looking for. And
Yeah.
if you rate dye tiger stripe, well, it would have to be some tight tiger striping. But,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if that's an answer or not. but, yeah.
Maybe. Hard to say.
Anyway, what's your ranking? What did you give it?
I think I'm in agreement with you guys about a B-.
Wow, we're the most boring reviewers ever. We all gave it the same rating.
Well, what is that like in percentile wise? That's over a 75, right? Like it's still pretty good. I mean, for what it's intended to be, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who are just going to absolutely fawn over this knife, given what it is and how rust resistant it is, and how good of an edge it has for how rust resistant it is.
Yeah.
Like, this is an excellent knife, but like you said, not my world. So for me, it's hard for me to get super jacked up and excited about this knife when I'm realistically never going to see it to its full potential. I'm not going to go to the Caribbean and use this.
Well, out of anyone here at the table that should be excited for the corrosion resistance of this steel,
I patina my shit.
it is you that should be getting jacked up about this because you rusted, corrode everything.
This is true. But again, yeah.
At a similar price point, I'll tell you this: I'd take one of these over a PM2.
Yeah.
And that might
okay.
be controversial, but it fits a niche market that I don't have, and the PM2 already fits 12 million markets that I own.
Not even thinking about sprint runs at all. I totally agree with you. This is a different steel I don't own. It would be something fun to play with.
For me, it's just about ergonomics.
Yes,
I
it feels
find the
awesome,
you
ergonomics
bet.
about this one a lot more better for me personally than the PM2s.
I know, stupid finger toil.
Yeah.
I don't like it on the paramilitaries. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
Fishing related, and like I said, it would fit a niche market for me where it would become a dedicated rust-proof fishing knife that held a decent edge.
Yeah.
And
Well, hey, if I knew I was going to go fishing, this would be an awesome knife to take. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah.
I think that sums it up. I think everyone got a good look at the Caribbeans, Caribbeans. Johnny Depp reference here. Bam! All right.
If we haven't had enough already.
I think we had one where we were talking about jumping into the water. But anyway. Yeah. So,
Yeah. That's all for this week, I guess. This is Nigel the Smith signing off.
I am who I am. I'm Dennis Vipers.
I am the Iron Joe.
That guy over there would be Paul, but he sucks. Joe.
Yeah.
I'm used to saying Joe sucks because he was gone for like a month.
It's not me for once.
Paul,
Well,
you suck.
You still do suck, but in
Hey.
this instance, it's Paul right now.
Good.
Yep. So yeah, that's all. Have a good week, folks. Talk to you later.
Bye now.
without need.